Yes, greetings each and everyone. As Christian said, I want to tell you about the Ethereum Light Client wallet. In this talk, we will look through 5 lenses. The first lens is the one of the user because it's a very user-centric app. The second lens is the lens of a developer. The third lens is the lens of an attacker. The fourth lens is a wide-angle lens where I basically zoom out a little bit and look at other things. And the fourth lens is your lens, basically, that's question and answer time. So let's start. The first lens, the user lens. After you install WALLETH, that's the first screen you see. And if you've installed other wallets on for Ethereum on Android, you will notice there's something missing. Usually, the WALLETH, the first thing the wallet is asking is for a password. But I disagree there a little bit because that was also I tried out other wallets before because I didn't want to write one, I just needed one. But I didn't like the experience because what was happening, I installed the app, then I had to do something for the app. Like the app asked me for a password. And then the app is yelling at me that the password is not good enough. I have to think about another password and then I can start testing. But the account has no real value yet. Why should I basically think about a password before I really use it with value? I just want to play around with test ether before. So basically, that's how it is changing. Now, we install first. You get an account that it's not password secured, but you can play around. And when you think about it, your email, for example, isn't extra password protected. You email on your phone, and that's way worth more for me than the 100 euros for room 77. And it's not extra protected. But for sure, afterwards, when you have value on this account, then you can protect it. But not before you have real value there. The other thing you see on the first screen is the scan button. Like, people don't really like QR codes, but at the moment it's kind of reality. We still have to deal with that a little bit. And this floating action button down there is like the entry for the most use cases you have with that, for the barcodes. You can scan ERC67 barcodes. Hands, show of hands who knows ERC67? Oh, that's too few. We need to re-educate here. That's basically, it's an address with a value and potentially more. The next thing you can scan, and that was, who scanned the first QR code you've seen on the beginning? Wonderful. That's basically what's happening there. It's a JSON UTC key and the password was written there. And you could get some tokens that way. We have some interaction here, so you should install the app because you could earn some tokens here. Then you can scan ECTA raw key. That's basically what MyEtherWallet, for example, is printing on the paper wallets. It's paper wallet stuff. The other thing is a plain address because it's kind of sad. Like currently, a lot of apps just display plain raw addresses. That's kind of bad. What's missing still is RLP for offline transactions. You have to go to another section for that. But before doing a transaction, let's look a bit at the overview. And we can do that, like let's say, with a real app. Just a backup there because you never know with the Wi-Fi here. So, and we start fresh because also in a lot of videos you see pre-synced stuff. So let's do the following: app info, and then clear all data. So it's basically like you installed it in the beginning from some app store of your less mistrust, and you force stop the stuff. So, and basically now we are clean. And the first start really bam, and just one warning because it's still on the testnet, and I write a lot of it's alpha everywhere, but people writing me mails, I used it with real ether, what do I do now? And then I have to do support, so now I have this big warning, special awareness, please only alpha, Rinkeby, ether, no real value yet. We are still, it's really early, we have to test stuff out, so don't use it with real value yet. Then we acknowledge that, and then the best thing, because I like the dark theme more, we switch in the settings to the night theme. That's day, that's bad. Night, way better. So then let's just look through the navigation drawer here real quick. And I'll drink some mate first. You can here edit an account. That's your, at the moment, the default account is active. And you can just edit like the name and say new account or something like that. And you can say if you want to be notified about changes in these addresses. And you see why shortly after. Because you can have either accounts with keys, that's indicated by the small key here. And that's just one account, the account that was created first. And in the address book, we have some other accounts. These are watch-only accounts, basically, because sometimes you don't trust your phone. Like the phone is not really trustworthy, to be honest, sometimes. So some accounts you perhaps just want to use watch-only, but you want to look at it, basically. And then you can scroll through the stuff, and yes. And very important, let's just switch back to an account where we have the key. Very important, these are your keys. It's always important, like with blockchains, your keys, your money. Not your keys, not your money. Like what happened with Free Wallet recently, you know, when they have control, when they have the keys, it's not really your account. Then there is one thing, offline transactions. That's quite new. I was writing a blog article on walleth.org about that. That's basically a little bit like a hardware wallet. What you do there is basically, you have one phone, your daily driver, that has internet. And you do the transactions with that, but it has not, you don't want to put the signing key on this nasty device. You want to put the signing key on a device which has no internet anymore. It could be some phone in your drawer which you don't use anymore, a really old phone, and where you perhaps even remove all the antennas that could transmit data. And then basically, you see the RLP QR codes unsigned from the internet device. You scan it with the device that has the key. You sign it, and you scan the QR code again with the internet device. It's a bit of QR code juggling, but it's way cheaper than a hardware wallet like that. They cost like 100 euros. It's cheaper, and you might still have the wallet on your phone. Yeah. These are Flame IDs. At the moment, this part is a bit raw. At the end, I want to use for identification. I don't really like the blockies. Usually, Mist and stuff uses the blockies, but I don't find them visually pleasing. We want to use that. The problem with that is they take on a 1070 GPU like 7 seconds to calculate, but TrueBit, which Dr. Christian Reitweiser was talking about, could solve that then, but we need that first.
Let's use animated flame fractals.
Yes, yeah, but then even more, you know, more images. Like I would be happy with those first and afterwards animated. But the thing is that you can really compare. It's like a visual hash function. You change one little bit, it looks totally different. So you can basically compare if you are talking to the real account there. Yeah, we've seen that basically. That's how you create new accounts. That you get that when you click on the floating action button plus here to create a new account. What you see there basically is you give it some name, you can add some nodes to it, and then some address. Let's do that on the real device. Switch account. And here, when you press on the key, basically it always generates a new key. Sometimes you don't like one, you can just generate new keys, and if you're happy with that, you take it. Otherwise, always the camera is always scanning. So basically, when you want to make a watch-only address, you have an address already, you see it on Etherscan, then you use the scan and you just scan the key of that. And the Trezor is not yet, like that's on a private branch, but is already working, like that's this Trezor here. And you would then invoke the key from the Trezor with that icon. Then you have to connect it, and it's reading that stuff. But that's not yet released. That's in my private stuff. Next week or something like that. So that's import keys. That's export keys. You always need both. You need to import and export keys. Export is basically, show the QR code protected with a password, and that's JSON encoded. I don't really want the raw keys there. I like the JSON ones more. These are basically the settings. You can select the theme, you can select the base token, and I also treat Ether as a real token. So it's basically, you can switch between ERC20 tokens. Then the fiat reference, you can, that's not a real phone. Let's do it on the right one. And you can also you can go to either through the settings to that menu, or you can directly press on ETH here and can select your tokens, or on USD to select the reference. And when you select a token that is not Ether basically, let's say some wall tokens, then you see you don't have a fiat reference because I don't know the exchange rates. Like we need to figure out something later for that. I only have that from Crypto Compare for Ether basically. Yeah, request a token, and then if you get your first transaction, it looks like that. And that's also where it breaks with the habit of a lot of other wallets, because I use a two-pane layout, one for incoming and one for outgoing. And it should also, like, I want it for the underbanked, uneducated, not for the crypto enthusiasts, but for them also, but mainly for people that are new to that. And I think that could be quite intuitive, because you press here, that's not the phone. You press basically here. That means an arrow pointing to your value and tells you, I want to put something in. You know, it's like kind of obvious without. And after you got the first transaction here, it's basically it's below there. So you directly see the result of your action. So that's your first transaction, and then you make some more, and then you basically have a two-row layout. The one is the incoming and the other is the outgoing. Because I think often when you think about the workflows you do with the wallet, you search for either an incoming or an outgoing. You don't search for a transaction which is one of those through the whole timeline. And that could be also like really frustrating if it's really, really long, you have to scroll through a lot. So I think it's also a little bit like activa, passiva, and I want it also to be a balance. You know, it should always, money should not pile up somewhere, or value should not pile up somewhere. Value should be always kind of balanced. This is not balanced. I just accumulated a lot of test drinkable. I don't have that much real ether. That's test drinkable ether. I just collected those to pass them out for playing around with that. There's a faucet that throws like 7.5 ether per day, test ether, and I just collected a lot to play around and also to spread around for everyone to test who doesn't have a GitHub account, because currently you need a GitHub account to get that. And on the top here, you see this little notification. That's a notification that you got transaction. That's the transfer screen. That looks still a little bit messy, to be honest. I want to go over that a little bit. Here you select, you get to the account selection. Here, scanning again, always the same icon language basically. Here you see the value. Here you can type the value. With that, I'm not really happy with that icon. Anyone can guess what that makes? What is?
All of it.
Yes, sweep, good. Okay, it's speaking, so good. People, yeah, that's basically, it's the sweep. I didn't really like, usually people use the trash can for that, and I don't want to trash my ether, you know? I want to sweep it, so. But if somebody, what also could be nice, could be like a brush or something.
It's all in.
What? Yeah, but poker, I don't really want to gambling, you know. I don't like gambling. Rastana gamble, I don't know. And then you can adjust the gas price, basically how much the transaction costs. Here's some common symbols that are used around the app. Always scan. It's unfortunately, we need it quite a lot currently, and I didn't choose the QR code sign because I hope that we can later on also like make photos of flame IDs to get addresses or something like that, or make photos of text or something like that. So I want to be a bit more generic, that I don't have a big problem later on. So it's more generic here. This is always share, like share your address, share your private key, share whatever. These are the offline transactions I was talking about. Always when you see this key, it's your private key. You have your private key there. Very important. Always your keys, your account. Then this is Trezor interaction, and that it's copy content. Copy, always be careful. The clipboard is also on desktop. It's really dangerous. We'll talk about that later. So now the next game. That's another account where you can basically do the same as in the beginning. There are some tokens behind there. Don't go for the ether. The ether is just there to pay the fee. Go for the tokens, please. And please tell me if you got them, then I can move on. And otherwise, I have some time to drink something. Because now you should like do what you learned. That's the private key. That's the password. Combine it, you know, and then it's your account. But the first one, it's the first one, you know. The one, the second will get nothing. It's a bit hard, but second place doesn't win anything. And you can, in the end, get tea for these. I have chai, masala chai. So hot matcha masala chai, good for the weather. And you can basically trade these tokens for chai, masala chai. All right. Then we continue. Like close a bit the user view, and now I open the developer view. I had in the beginning 4 very fixed cornerstones for me that are very important. That I don't compromise on that for wallets. The first, it has to be free and open source software. I wouldn't use a wallet that is closed source. I don't know how people can like use Jax or something like that. Wallets have to be open source because otherwise you cannot trust it. Otherwise they can give you every code and steal all your ether, even if you have the keys. But if you own the keys, but you don't own the code, you also don't own the keys because someone could just steal the keys. It has to be native, pure Android. Like I'm an Android developer, I love Android with my heart. It has to be pure native Android. That's also where basically Status fell out. I searched for a wallet for a different project, and I looked at all of them, and to be honest, Status was the one that is closest to what I wanted, but it's a hybrid app. And I don't like hybrid apps. You always make trade-offs, and hybrid apps always, for me, feel bad. And you're way more flexible with a pure native Android implementation. Then it has to have a light client option, because a lot of wallets also use other nodes. But then we have centralization again. And if Trump blows up with North Korea and the whole internet blows up, maybe these nodes are not there anymore. Then our whole decentralization is like for shit. We need light clients basically to get the resilience that is promised by blockchains and decentralizations. And the fourth pillar, the key always has to be at the user, because there are other like wallets that store the key on some server that's even worse, like what was happening with Free Wallet there. And with these 4 cornerstones laid down, I didn't find another wallet, so I had to start this project, and yeah, that's basically the reason behind that. Under the hood, for all the consensus stuff, it's using Go Ethereum. Go Ethereum, why did I choose that? I looked into Ethereum J before also, and Web3J, because on Android, Java is always a little bit a nicer option. But the thing is, Go Ethereum, like it's with all the stuff like light clients, Whisper, which we heard before, it's always on the forefront. Like Go Ethereum is one of the 3 implementations from the foundation. The foundation has C++, Python, and Go. And I chose Go because, for example, the light client endeavors are all on Go Ethereum. And the choice is pretty nice because the Go team is awesome, to be honest. Like I had a lot of issues in the beginning, and who has downloaded the app in the beginning knows what I'm talking about. We had really a lot of crashes, but a lot of them were solved now, and the Go team is really responsive, not only for these crash bugs that only happen on mobile, because I'm using the in-process node that Peter Silagi, really nice guy, was announcing at the last DEF CON. But I think I'm the only one using it, because I stumbled into so many bugs, nobody else is using that. Status is using in a separate process. They talk via JSON RPC, but I don't want the overhead. I want things to be really, really fast, and I don't want to talk JSON RPC, because what means RPC? RPC means remote procedure calls, and I'm like local. I want to use a real API, a thin layer. That was a little bit of pain. But in the end, I think it's really worth it, because now I don't have to talk, like RPC means you spin up a web server and communicate with a web server. What? I don't know. But, and these bugs were solved really fast, like some in days, some like, for example, this one, the heap bits for span that came from the Go implementation. So it has to basically go up through Go and then flow downstream again. That took a little bit, but now it's in there. For the app layer, I'm using Kotlin. I'm like a huge Kotlin fan. Kotlin is also now an official language for, like since May, since the Google I/O, it's an official language for Android. Like they announced it as Google I/O, now as official. Before it was always a bit pain because people said, Google could decide to do something else, but now they even made it official. A lot of you might already use it without knowing it because it's basically the foundation for all the JetBrains endeavors. Kotlin is from JetBrains, and a lot of IDEs I see around here, that's basically JetBrains. And as nice as the IDEs from JetBrains is, as nice as the language. Like the language is really fun. Like there was one blog post recently which really summed it up. Welcome to happiness. Like Go is basically happiness. It makes fun, it's really concise, and it really brings, okay, I had really pain as a Java developer before, and before as a Java micro editions developer even more. But Kotlin really, it's small, concise, it's really fun, it's the nicest language ever. No, not ever, until now. Yeah. WALLETH is an GitHub organization repository. You first see here, that's the Android client basically, one repository. Then there is Ethereum. Ethereum is quite small, but it's basically, I hate duplication. Never write wet code, always write dry code. So always when I have some code that repeats between different things, now I put that in Ethereum. Like it's, I don't yet want to get sidetracked to do in Kotlin Ethereum complete implementation because that would take me, I wouldn't have time for anything else. But it would be fun. But no. But that basically is the beginning for that. Now it collects some models and some RPC stuff, and over time, next thing will be some RLP stuff, and over time it could become a real Kotlin implementation. And where it's sharing code with is WALLETH push. That's basically a Firebase cloud messaging to push you when you get new transactions. Basically watching the chain and watching addresses and pushing you, because light client sounds light and happy and light, but it's quite heavy still. It's 100 megabytes, they want to get it down. That's also why it should always be one app. You don't want a lot of apps implementing this light client and all getting the data. It's not this 50 gigabytes, which is the full node, wouldn't even fit on my phone. But it's still a lot of memory, and for the target audiences I want to go for, also Android Go, they don't have this space. And then it's this website, basically we have the blog walleth.github.com. What you see here basically is some reports I generate from my CI server generates, and why I put it here might be interesting for some of you. All the reports are linked to IPFS now, perhaps later on Swarm, but that's not yet possible. But the thing is, I had a Jenkins before, and that always gets out of sync. The URLs 404 at some point, because they don't go with the Merkle tree from Git. And basically, you want to just combine both forests, like Joe and Bennett was saying, the Git forest and my report forest that I always have, because I always have the one-to-one connection between a commit and the reports for that. And Jenkins could not really do that because they support also really obscure stuff like SVN and stuff that doesn't really have hashes, but as we use only, I restrict myself to only Git, and then that's completely possible. These are how the reports are looking. I can show, wow, wait a second. These are looking like that. Like at the moment I have 4 devices connected, an emulator for APA level 25, an old Samsung N7000 where the display broke. If anyone has old phones, give them to me. I have real use for that. An old Nexus 7, same faith, has the old Spiderweb app implementation, and I didn't want to install that, but it's really hard to remove. Yeah, and then you can basically go through the reports here, all on IPFS, see all the screenshots. Then you can also, if you want to make contributions, not as a developer, but perhaps as an icon artist or something like that, and you want to directly see your impact, you make a pull request with a changed icon, you don't want to build it yourself, you would see these changes then here. Okay. One thing back to ERC 67 because it's really, really important. That is like something that doesn't get enough love yet. We should really care that, and Julian Bennett was really summarizing it. If we don't care for that now, we get a lot of incompatible stuff because now my Ether wallet is doing custom stuff, and there's no standardization yet. And now I would start custom stuff because I also have some ideas and I express them also here, but until now no reaction because, for example, I want to have the ERC 67 cover the RLP stuff, and that's not yet covered. So we should really care for that now before it's too late. And there's a lot of, like in German, Wildwuchs, really wild garden, and nobody, all the QR codes are incompatible to each other. That would be really bad. Same here now, like in, that's for MetaMask. I opened the bug and it's soon. They make it, at the moment that's a plain address, and plain addresses are really bad because I have to like guess what it is or probe it or make some heuristics. That's not what we want. We want an ERC 67, and then we can also like use it with the Android intent system. I don't have to go to the app and then scan at the right place so it's getting detected. I can scan with any scanning app, and then I use the Android intent system to basically get to the right place without, like in the app, like a deep link. But you need basically the context from ERC 67 for that. Also, I don't know where the issue tracker for them is for Alphabet. They also use plain addresses. So if anyone has contacts, should be fixed, but I don't find the issue tracker or code repository. I don't use that, right? And that's for K9 we get ERC 67 now. It's merged, should be in the next release. So let's push that. I think it's really important. Yeah, and that's the last part for the developer. Now we come to the attacker side because we have to deal with security relevant stuff here. Like it's hard stuff, so we have to care a little bit. First of all, we are a little bit protected by Android. I would say we are more protected than a Windows machine because on Android, the apps are shielded between each other. Like one app cannot read the data from the other. On your desktop, it's different. And that's where the scandal of jacks on desktop came recently, where another app can basically read the private key from jacks there because you can cross-read it. That's protected on Android basically, but it's still not everything. There are still some things we should consider. It's I show you the cloak and dagger attack short after because it's really bad. Tracer support is coming and the clipboard attack. And thanks for Andreas for making me aware of that. I wasn't really aware. Like it's a big problem because I start with the clipboards. It's basically everyone can listen for clipboard events and basically check if it's an address. And then there are two things it could do. Either it's replacing it with your own, and you don't really check. And if you don't really have Flame ID or some check or the other, you could just copy it in for some ICO or something like that, and then you send to the wrong address. Or same thing with private keys. It could detect the private key and then just sweep everything. You know, so be really careful with clipboards. So I try to warn people now. But also, like you see in same thing here on the desktop. You have the copy to clipboard here in MetaMask. Quite bad because, yeah, we should get over that and be really aware of that. Yeah, and then I'll show you the cloak and dagger attack because it's really evil. What it's basically doing, you know, the Facebook chat heads, and like the Android engineers wanted to fight against that attack basically, but then the management came and said, we want Facebook chat heads without these intrusive permissions. And what you can basically do here, that's really evil. So I think a password doesn't really even help because here, what you basically do, it's a lot of, sorry for that. It's a lot of invisible chat heads, and it's basically over the keyboard, so you can read, and every app can do that without real permissions. So passwords don't really protect you even. So I even think perhaps I skip the passwords and say, if you want to protect, either you have low volume or something for room 77 and you don't care for if it gets lost, or you get a Trezor, because then it's not possible, because on the Trezor the key never leaves the device, basically. Yeah, but we need to address that and especially educate the users about that, because a lot of users just don't know, and then their funds are gone, then they will call me, and I don't want to answer these calls. So yeah, that's basically that. I have to run a little bit. Yeah, that's the Trezor. Then there also, what is really nice now, it also supports ERC20. And I'm a big fan of ERC20 because I don't think we should use Ether as a store of value. We should use stable coins or ERC20 coins and leave Ether. And but then you have a security problem again. But the Trezor now can pass ERC20 and display you. The only problem there is the tokens have to be whitelisted and compiled into the firmware of the Trezor, because otherwise it wouldn't know the addresses. And also in ERC20 you have this unfortunate how's it called, decimals thing, and then you don't really know, like the decimals could vary, and that's really bad. Yeah, and I recently was doing a lot of, like, these are all pull requests I did to Trezor, because I couldn't really include it in my app first, because it was bringing me over the 65K method limit, and I had to clean that up first. But now it's really small. Before there was just a lot of stuff pulled in that was not really used. I just cut that out. Now it's really small. Now it's also on F-Droid soon, like the pull request is out and it's in the process. It's then also on F-Droid, and yeah. And yeah, also some issues. I didn't have a license first, and it was like only Bitcoin. Now it also has Ethereum logos, so we push Ethereum there a little bit, because I think Trezor in the end will be used more for Ethereum than for Bitcoin. A little bit of a problem, and it's also where I want to spark a little bit of discussion. Currently, I'm signing on an old T47 with an old Pentium M. And thanks to JS at Seabase for lending me that old device. You cannot really do something with that, but for signing it's okay. I kind of air-gapped it a little bit. It's more than most developers are doing, but I'm not yet really sure, because it's also a lot of pain. I have to like put around with SD cards. I didn't use that for the other apps because they were not that security relevant, and here I thought I go a bit off the top. But I'm kind of pulling back a little bit, because there's also now this Google signing. And if you get it from the Play Store, and for example not from F-Droid, you're lost anyway, because they have root on your phone. They can't do everything anyway. So it's a bit of, if anyone has opinions on that, I'm really happy afterwards to discuss that, because the Google signing, I don't really like it, but a lot of people are telling me it's not that much of an impact, and it has a nice side effect. It's I get split APKs for free, because at the moment, all of you have installed it, seen it's still a bit big. It's like 40 megabytes still, the implementation. And for Android Go, that's like an Android that is really small for third world countries, cheap, not that much memory. It has to be under 10 megabytes. And it's basically, at the moment, it's that big because it has all the artifacts for all platforms that I support. It's ARM, it's MIPS, it's x68, and it has all the binaries basically for that included. I could manually split, but that's even more getting out SD cards and uploading separate stuff, and it's a lot of like overhead. So I'm thinking about on Play, if you trust Google, when you use Google Play, I perhaps use Google signing, but I deliver on different platforms also, like F-Droid won't have that. So, but I'm open for discussions. I'm still, with the next release, I will sign with the old T42, but it's a lot of pain, and I don't like pain. Another thing, like you recently saw that's also one app I downloaded in the beginning, where I like searched for apps I could use, and I was seeing that don't use apps where it wants your Facebook login or Google login, and then wonder why they move all your funds and cry, like your keys, your money, not your keys, not your keys, not your money. If all goes to shit, there's the offline survival manual. Like we could fail terribly. Please also install that as a backup plan. And That's another app I was working with the nice icon designer. You've seen the icon design is really nice. Big shout out to Michael Cook, who made this beautiful icon and also the beautiful icon for WALLETH. And also, it's free. It's under 10 megabytes. It tells you how to make a fire, how to hunt some animals. You never know. These are crazy times we're living in right now, right? All right. Now you might wonder, what are these tokens about I was telling about? And you all heard about this ICO. Wah, wah, wah. The funny thing about this ICO, you cannot buy anything. You cannot buy these tokens for money. It's not possible. What you get these tokens, like when you scan the QR codes in the middle, you got some tokens, 7 for scanning these QR codes. And everyone who is attended with an Android device, I don't care for iOS people, go away, sorry. All with Android devices, I will give you a token afterwards. And you can trade some of them for chai 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 masala chai, or just keep them. They might be interesting in the future. I just want to go a bit, I hate all these ICOs going on currently. Like, they really annoy me. They collect so much money for nothing, or not for nothing, but it's crazy. And it could end really badly. And I think we could use these tokens for cool stuff. For just trading around, for like, also kids in the kindergarten could like just trade around with their, like Vitalik was saying once, for comic books or something like that. We don't need to invest everything with this big money thing. And you cannot buy these tokens from me. So you get 1 token for talk attendance. You get 3 for reporting a crash bug. I trade 42 for unicorn token. I want unicorn tokens. If anyone has unicorn tokens, I would always trade 42. Nice.
Is the QR code there?
No.
The QR code on the yellow cover?
Yeah, but I have to pay a lot of money to get.
Actually, I'm not sure. I think they lowered the requirement.
Yeah, but my low is really low. Yeah. I would trade it. If somebody has too much money and got a lot of unicorn tokens and don't need them, I would trade them for 42 for 1 unicorn, and 5+ for merged PR. And I'm open for suggestions there. Like, it's basically participation, and that's from now on. Later, after the beta release, it's 1 for if you make photos of 5 hands where you installed WALLETH. It's basically what Andreas Antonopoulos is always doing. Come for me, I give you some, and when you make 5 photos, you get then also some tokens. Later on also for translations, but I don't want to push that now because the app has to get beta state, so I know it's not that much changing, and afterwards, and then also I hear from my Ether Wallet team, they have so much support stuff, I will have to outsource support because I hate support. I want to code. At the end, I would also trade some tokens for support help. Basically, you answer some mails, which would otherwise just end up in, if you write me mails, I'm sorry, I can't handle them. So now a little bit of a wide angle and then we are finished basically. That's the last thing. A little bit zoom out basically. And I have to drink something first because now I'm talking really fast. All right. Why am I doing that? I presented beginning of the year espass.it. It's basically a ticketing solution for Ethereum. And I noticed I need a light client. And I needed as a building block, and I wasn't finding some, so I had to basically first build the wallet to then interact with Espass. Because there are now some companies trying to do tickets on the blockchain, but they do websites again. We don't want websites, we want distribution. Therefore, you need light clients. And be really careful, please don't invest in these ICOs. Like, one is really, really bad. They even want to put faces to the tickets. Like images of faces onto the tickets. Like, if you lose your money with an ICO, I don't really care, to be honest. But like, if we go down that dark path of like a dystopian future where we have blockchains where it's connected, which one was going to which concert, like we're in Germany here, we should know better, we don't want to do that. Another thing I want to use it for is I was coding Satoshi proof for a while. Satoshi proof is cried for Ethereum from the beginning, but Ethereum was not available back then. And I was interacting with Andreas' Bitcoin wallet there. What's basically doing is it's generating addresses from the hashes to prove something, so burning the money. People don't really like that. I could have used op return, which was available afterwards, but then I already heard about Ethereum, and with Ethereum we have storage. So it's much nicer to do this use case on Ethereum, and it basically helps to bring WALLETH where I want to have it like as a component, basically, where you can communicate with content providers and intent system, basically, and outsource the wallet functionality and split it up between different apps. And that's how it should look like in the end. You have WALLETH, and that's communicating basically then with SPAS, because that's easy. I think I will start with Etherproof because it's an easier use case than SPAS. And it's always better to start with the easy stuff and then get complicated than other way around, because then you just might fail. Or you can also use it with your app, because I want to make content providers with that. What's really sad now, a really sad story. This was my bid, the 0424242, and I lost. And I lost to, because it's all open on the blockchain, you can see everything. I lost to a fucking squatter. And I see that because he bid on thousands of names. So, and I think I have to disagree with the other one before who said ENS is a success. I think, to be honest, it's a failure. Because if only squatters get the mails, also my Ether wallet didn't get their address. The crypto compare didn't get their address. And a lot of projects were just squatters because it's so cheap to just squat and they just want to hold stuff. And now there's a lot of money in there. Yeah, but is that the goal? The goal is that we want to use ENS, right? And I think the squatters won't use it. And I will just wait now. I got a lot of hate because I said we should just restart ENS and just say, okay, the squatters locked down their money. Let's just do another ENS. They don't have that much money anymore, so we just do another one. And we do that as many times until they are not interested in squatting anymore. But I got a lot of hate for that, so I will just sit and wait, because I think it will solve itself, because people will just not use it, because the squatters have no incentive to use it. And now they put so much money in there that the users, the real users, wouldn't put up the money, because I don't want to pay more. Like, I paid for the wallet.org, I paid under 10 euros, and that's 042, it's like 150 euros. I don't want to pay more for that. Like, I don't think it's worth that. So that's unfortunate, that's not me. So yeah. Okay, that's the last riddle here, and that's now a bit more complicated. The password is now not written anymore on the right side. The password is now a question. And basically, which one is the ERC that is so important for your eyes? And it's also like 7 tokens behind that. I give you some time.
It's 42.
Huh? No, it's not. 42 is wrong.
It's ERC 42.
Huh?
I'm just kidding. It's ERC 42.
No, it's not. What is IRC 42? I would be interested. I don't know, but it is not.
42 sounds awesome.
Yeah, sounds awesome. We should make. Yeah, but I don't really know what it is, to be honest. But it's not the answer. Like it wouldn't decrypt with that. So. All right, I think we are through. So, and then what we're basically doing is I trade 8 WAL tokens for 1 T token. A T token is a very special thing that only goes to humans I drink tea with. Nothing else. It's chai chai masala chai. I even have some ginseng tea. So basically, I know you're human. Please don't pass on the tokens, because I think we need these human tokens in the future to basically distinguish humans from machines, you know? And so for 8 wallet tokens, if you got them, that basically means solving 1 riddle and attending. Everyone who solved the riddle gets 1, because 7 plus 1 is 8. And the other ones could trade, and I have some tea. A bit of big up to the Go team, especially Peter Silagi. Huge what they are doing. Like you make an issue, and like short after you have a pull request. Ethereum Foundation, big work they are doing. The MyEther wallet team, big. The Trezor team also. I think that's very important what they are doing, and I'm really looking forward to that. The whole Android teams, JetBrains for the Kotlin language. You should look into Kotlin. Etherscan for their service. They really helped me. So like you have a lot of links in WALLETH to Etherscan to basically verify, you know, truth a little bit. Crypto Compare, I get the exchange rates for that. Ryan Taylor for the camera, he made the camera here. Michael Hook for the icon. Andreas Schwittbach for all the information I got from the Bitcoin wallet. Solidity team, awesome language. I really liked it. And all I forgot, it's just too much already. Thank you very much for attention. Follow up here. It's wallet.org is the domain for the project. Look it up there. Ligi.de is my project. And now Junen's Q&A. Thank you very much.
Even though you're having a light client.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing, I'm almost sure that the reason you need it is incoming transactions.
Yeah, at the moment, yes.
And
not only, to be honest, at the moment, I also relay to Etherscan because you see, we had a lot of problems with, in the beginning with the light client. And I now, because it was for a lot of people, a lot of pain, I made it optional. That only people, and I warn people, it makes your phone really warm, it consumes a lot of data, so only do it when you want it. And I also use Etherscan for relaying, for also like areas, for example, in third world countries, they cannot run that. They don't have the data plans to run a light client. A light client, if you look at it, it consumes a lot of data. So Etherscan is also for that, but also for the transactions currently.
The boss of the Go team, Jeff, is really passionate about not making incoming transactions available ever. And I don't think that we're going to override him on that. But the official client found a solution for that, the wallet contract. Don't you want?
Yeah, but the wallet contract is more expensive, right? It's yeah, it's more expensive. Huh? That's a problem. Like
but centralization is also a problem. So.
Yeah. I will implement wallet contracts, for sure. So it's opt-in, but I also want that. Because people at the moment also choose for cheap. And I basically want that you have the options. You should be educated when you want to use a wallet contract. I completely understand. Makes total sense. And for a lot of use cases like multisig, you even need that. That's for sure one thing I want to make. And I want to go away from the Ether transactions anyway. I want that people use ERC20 and then you use a wallet contract, right? You use that. Because you go through a contract. I'm not yet sure about that, but the costs are a problem, I think.
So they're a huge problem now.
Yeah, they're now a huge problem, and I don't want to scare people away with that, but you're right, it's a problem, and I would really love to see, I would love to see if we get this information also from Light Client. It should also be possible, right? Technically, it should be possible.
It's technically possible.
Yeah, but it's a political problem. Like, I just wait back, and I have other things to do currently, so I don't. It's not a forcing thing, but in the future we should look at that. But I hope perhaps the Go team come together, talk to Jeff. I think he's you started a nice project. Should be a really nice guy. Yeah.
But he's passionate.
Yeah, it's passion. Yeah, I understand passion. I completely understand passion.
Okay, and
we just have to channel it a little bit for practicality. Also, like it's a trade-off.
And the second question that I have is also somewhat related to this. So I have played a little bit with the application, and I noticed that you have the option of running or not running light client.
Yeah.
So what does it mean not to run light client? If
you don't run the light client.
So it's ticked off. It's not.
Yeah. Then get age is not. I really separated it because I had in the beginning really huge problems with that. It was crashing all the time with random like stack traces from C. Like I know my Java stack traces. It was hard stuff under there. Always when we came under memory pressure also, and yeah, I needed a solution that people could test user flows without being distracted by that, because people I cannot use it. It's crashing all the time. And then people also don't get the difference, you know, what is this light client anyway? And then they hate it because it's always crashing. So now I made it optional that people, and I encourage that in the description. You should use it, right? It's written there, please help the community use it, send me the crash reports so I can pass them on. But I don't want to restrict people that they cannot switch it off and then cannot use.
But what happens if you switch it off?
Everything works fine. Because I separated everything. I have a get age light client service, which I then completely switch off. But I have a separate get age light client signer. And I basically have a data structure where then I sign with GetH because that's not a problem at all. It's not a problem with the Go API at all. It's a problem when the light client is running and consuming, like syncing initially. And once you're synced, it's also not a problem. A big thing was I love Rinkeby, and I started the project with Rinkeby basically. And I was always like not far ahead. Like I don't have to sync much. So I didn't even experience the crashes much. And then I released the app, and I've seen all the stack trace, and I could reproduce it basically. It's only happening when you have to fetch up a lot of blocks in the beginning. You know what I mean?
But what happens under the hood when the light client is turned off? Like how the wallet works?
Then I'm relaying to Etherscan.
Oh, Etherscan.
Yeah, then I'm generating with GetH the signed RLP and relay the signed RLP to Etherscan. And that's basically the same security you get from the other wallets.
Right.
You know? And the only thing, or what means the only thing? The most important thing you get from the light client is resilience against nodes going off. So we don't have that problem currently. So, but we should always strive for that and have the option to switch it on when it's needed. When Korea, you know, you see these mushrooms, now we should switch that on because, you know, it's not funny. Don't laugh at it. It's really, we should, yeah, it's hard. Yeah. Other questions? Oh, good. Then, oh. No. No, I think it's a really good thing to just do Android because then you can move faster. I think a lot of like these hybrid apps that also want to target iOS slow themselves down a lot because they will have problems making things like OTG. That will be really hard. I think I can move faster with just Android, and I think iOS is dead already. It's a closed system, it's dead, you know. I don't care for them. And they have other options. That's why I like Status because they can do the stuff for the iOS guys. But I think native you can provide a snappier experience and way more interactions like with content providers and stuff. You cannot really do that with a hybrid app. So I don't care for iOS, to be honest. They made terrible. They made.
To get this app anyway. So.
That's good. That's getting people. That's
I just want an Android phone with one app.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one mission succeeded. Yeah, and then it's good that people also overthink their choices because I think using iOS is a terrible choice, and I shouldn't support that. Yeah.
Is it available on Android as well?
Not yet. It will come. Like I prepared the Trezor one. The thing is, I'm now using. Since May there was Google I/O, and now they released the architecture components, and I want to use those. The problem with these architecture components is they are only on the Maven repository from Google. Google now, finally, after years, they made a Maven repository, which is kind of good, but it also has the problems that F-Droid cannot yet deal with that. But today, at the pull request, there was movement, so it should be like, I already have a flavor for F-Droid. You can see, like, all my other apps are on F-Droid, basically, and I want that. One. Here you see I already have the flavors for F-Droid is already even the first one, Amazon Play. So the flavor is already there. It's already the separation of closed stuff and open stuff. This Firebase stuff you don't get yet with F-Droid because Firebase they will open source, but I didn't yet. So all the main work is done, and as soon as the pull request from F-Droid is merged, where they accept basically the Google Maven repository, and it should happen today-ish, then it will be on F-Droid. It has to be there. It needs to for trust reasons. And then we even need verifiable builds, because, yeah, but that's another can, and I think we have to go. It's quite late.